Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today, we are doing another mock draft 3 weeks before the NFL draft does happen. Mock draft season, baby. So, if you guys do enjoy it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video. So obviously doing a mock draft for the 2025 NFL draft. Gonna be as realistic as I can be. I'm not really a guy that loves doing the unrealistic mock drafts. I want to be as realistic as possible with all the updated news as of April 9th at 9 p.m. when I'm recording this. I just want to get all the most updated, up to date news, and do a mock draft where I think guys are actually going to go. Let's get into it. So we're gonna start the draft. So at number one, the Tennessee Titans. I think is very obvious. The Tennessee Titans will be grabbing Cam Ward at number one. You know, there's rumors that the Giants and Browns have been trying to trip to number one, and the Titans just aren't having it. They're not interested in hearing about any trades that are happening. They don't want to talk to anyone about any trades. They just want to grab their guy and call it a day. So I think that's what they're going to do. I think Cam Ward is going to go number one overall. I've been saying that I think Cam Ward's ceiling is a Joe Burrow type of player where he's very comfortable in the pocket, very decisive. I think that's exactly what Cam Ward could be at a high end, is a top 10, top 5 quarterback. That's the most that he can achieve is a Joe Burrow build. I've been saying that. I stand by that. I think he's a very accurate passer, very comfortable in the pocket, can make any throw in the NFL field. It doesn't have the biggest arm in the world, but I think it's definitely good enough to deliver downfield. Cam Ward, I absolutely have as my number one quarterback, and Cam Ward, I do believe will go number one overall, despite the Browns and Giants trying to trip number one overall. Then number two, I am maybe changing my mind on number two. They just came out a report today that the Sanders camp is preparing to not get taken in the top 3, and apparently they told Clay Travis, I think it was, that they'd rather not get taken in the top 3 because they think their options are better down the board. So that tells me that the Browns and the Sanders camp have basically said, hey, it's not going to happen at number 2. Just giving you a heads up. Don't be ready to get drafted number 2 overall. So I think it will end up being between Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. The question is, where do I think the Browns are leaning right now? I do think it's Travis Hunter. Andrew Berry, first off, Jimmy Haslam, the owner, Paul DePodesta, Jim Johnson, Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, and Tommy Rees were all at Travis Hunter's pro day, where he ran routes as a wide receiver and did some corner workouts. Andrew Berry went on a 5-minute spiel talking about Travis Hunter as a wide receiver and a corner. I fully believe that the Browns, are going to take Travis Hunter at number 2. Obviously it's still a month, about 3 weeks away from the NFL draft. But if you put me on the pedestal right now and said, hey, $100, who are the Browns going at number 2? I'm going Travis Hunter. Do I agree with it? Not necessarily. Travis Hunter as a wide receiver, it's probably the number 1 in contention wide receiver in this class. At corner, in my opinion, is the best corner in this class, period. But at wide receiver, he's definitely a special player. I fully expect the Browns, when they do draft Travis Hunter, to be forward-thinking and progressive enough to say, you know what, Travis, do 85% of your snaps at wide receiver, and do 10% of snaps at corner. I don't think you'd be playing corner. You have Martin Emerson, you have Greg Newsome, you have Denzel Ward. You don't need Travis Hunter to play corner for you full-time. He can play wide receiver, be your excellent number 1 wide receiver opposite of Jerry Jeudy. He's 6'1", 185. He fits the mold that Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski like at wide receiver. The only thing I have against him is that he's going to turn 22 pretty soon, and the Browns love to draft young in the draft, and obviously Abdul Carter's 21. But I do think Travis Hunter, I think there is a conversation about him going number 2, being a wide receiver full-time, and playing some special team corners minutes, like maybe when it comes to like Hail Marys, fourth quarter game-winning drive, you're on defense, you throw out Travis Hunter. But I'm gonna listen. There are guys that I trust, like Steve Smith has said Travis Hunter has everything. He has all the fundamentals to be a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. And I'm trusting Steve Smith. He has not been wrong, except for Jerry Jeudy. That's the only guy he's been wrong about. But Jerry Jeudy, I think just needed a change of scenery. But yeah, I trust him. He says Travis Hunter has all the stuff needed to be a number 1 wide receiver. I absolutely believe him. And I think Travis Hunter can be a number 1 wide receiver. I think he can also be a number 1 corner. I don't know if he could be a number 1 corner and a number 1 wide receiver. Then at number 3, the New York Giants, they have Abdul Carter fall into their lap. If you don't go Abdul Carter at 3, I think it's a malpractice. This is in my opinion, besides Travis Hunter, the best prospect in this class. Absolutely insane edge rusher, great power, great speed. You know, I always say, as much as I disagree with that, if you don't have sack production, you can't be successful in the NFL. Like Brett Coleman, who's a YouTuber, he's been going on a really big spiel recently that what's the word? What's the word I'm thinking of? Like projecting guys who are successful in the NFL. If you have a low sack rate, you're not gonna be successful no matter your build. And then how everyone just brings up Danielle Hunter in 2017. But there's been a lot of guys since 2017 that have been drafted that did it, you know, because like Danielle Hunter only had like 5 sacks in his college career, turned into a really good pass rush in the NFL. And he's saying if you don't have a high sack rate, you're not gonna be successful in the NFL because if you can't dominate in college, you can't dominate in the pros. There is some argue to that, but Abdul Carter, you know, he obviously showed in college football he can dominate 43 pressures, 13 sacks, and 10 quarterback hits. I think Abdul Carter is a true number 1 generational pass rusher. I think he'll probably end up being the best defensive player from this draft period, and that includes Travis Hunter. I still think Abdul Carter has the highest ceiling of anyone in this class. Then at number 4, the New England Patriots. It's interesting. So Stephon Diggs' deal is really just a 1-year deal. So wide receiver is definitely on the board for them still. I don't believe Ted McMillan is a number 4 prospect though. I think they'd rather keep moving down the board. You know, they signed Milton Williams. They have Christian Barmore. They're not going Mason Graham. I do think Will Campbell will be the pick here because that tackle or guard, they can use him, right? We know that Mike Onwenu, you guys know I love him. I love Onwenu. I think he's one of the best underrated offensive linemen in the draft period. And I think Will Campbell, he can come in, play tackle or guard. It's like Mike Onwenu. Will Campbell has a little bit shorter arms, but it does not matter. I really don't care. I do believe he could be a tackle in the NFL, but if he has to move the guard, he can play guard at a high level. And then you move Mike Onwenu, who you know can play tackle, back at the left tackle instead of left guard. But Will Campbell, building up this offensive line for your quarterback, I think it's the number 1 thing that they have to do. I don't believe in pushing off your offensive line to the point where it's then hindering you and it's not helping you. And I think the Patriots are at the point where they're 1 or 2 guys away from helping their quarterback instead of hindering their quarterback. So we go Will Campbell at number 4. I think it's just the right thing to do, protect Drake May. Then at number 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm feeling Jahdae Barron. I really am. I've been saying Jahdae Barron. I actually do want to look at their depth chart real quick, though, because I believe they signed... Who they signed? Yeah, so they have Jarian Jones, who I was a really big fan of last year, Tyson Campbell, and Jordan Lewis. Yeah, I am going to go Jahdae Barron for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Corner's been an issue for them for a few years. Jarian Jones, obviously, last year was a great investment in that secondary. Tyson Campbell, I believe he has an extension, or he got, I don't know, I don't really remember Tyson Campbell. But, you know, the secondary overall just needs to get improved. Jahdae Barron, number 1 corner in this class. You know, obviously, it's the best zone corner, but I do think can play in a press man defense. The defensive coordinator is his first time being a defensive coordinator, so I really don't know what system they're going to run. But 5 interceptions in that big of a school, that's impressive. Like, look at the competition. Ohio State, Arizona State, Georgia, Clemson, A&M, Arkansas State, Florida, Georgia again, obviously, Oklahoma, Michigan, Colorado State. Like, they played a lot of really good schools, a lot of decent schools, and he had 5 interceptions to no touchdowns. That's something that I do believe in. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, they desperately need a number 1 corner. And that's going to be Jahdae Barron. Then number 6, the Las Vegas Raiders. This is the one team I think could take Shedeur Sanders at number 6. But, you know, they just paid Geno Smith a 2-year extension, $40 million averaged out. And Pete Carroll loves him some Shedeur Sanders. There's a lot of ways it could go. You know, offensive line is definitely one of them. Ashton Jeanty obviously is one of them. I'm not gonna be dumb, right? Ashton Jeanty is obviously one of them. But they don't really have a wide receiver. I do think there's a world where Ted McMillan could go at 6. There's a world that he could go 6. He's not my number 6. I just don't think Ted McMillan is do I actually think Ted McMillan is a top 10 pick? No, I don't think he is. I see him more as a jump ball receiver, and I don't like jump ball guys. You know, but I was low on Drake London. I have been very vocal and said Drake London, I was very low on coming out of college, and he has been killing it in the pros. So maybe I'm wrong. You know what? Honestly, Ashton Jeanty would be amazing, but you know, this running back class is very deep. The wide receiver class is obviously good as well, but it's a lot less wide receiver ones later on, right? You know, not every team is going to be able to get Jaden Higgins, Jalen Royals, Trey Harris, Jalen Noel. Those are guys I think could be wide receiver ones in the NFL. Running back is very deep though, right? I think Ashton Jeanty, Marion Hampton, Dylan Sampson, Caleb Johnson, both Ohio State guys, DJ Giddens, Jadon Blue. I think all those guys could be main down running backs. So I'm going to go Ted McMillan. Get Geno Smith, his number one receiver. He loves the big body receivers. He loves the DK Metcalf, his Jackson Smith and Jigbas. Let's get him a wide receiver 1. And now you have Jacoby Myers move more comfortably back in that slot receiver. And then you have wide receiver 2 be a battle for whoever's left on that roster. Really, the Raiders, I really don't know who they've signed at wide receiver. I don't think they've signed anyone. I think they're just rolling with the guys that they had last year. So you got to improve that room with Ted McMillan. Then at number 7, the New York Jets. You know, I've been saying Tyler Warren. I think it makes the most sense. Obviously, the best tight end prospect since last year, I guess, because last year you had Brock Bowers come out, so Tyler Warren obviously is not like a generational prospect. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Maybe Mason Graham. What's Mason Graham? How we feel about Mason Graham to the Jets? I don't hate that. I really don't hate that. I'm gonna look at their depth chart real quick. I really need to do a deep dive into some of these rosters and just get re-antiquated with their free agency moves. Oh, they signed Brandon Stevens. This is the team. Yep, that was one of my worst. That's why I said it was one of the worst signings. Jeremy Ruckert, I think they could run it back with Jeremy Ruckert for a season and see how he does. Wide receiver could definitely be up there. He could definitely be up there. Tackle, man. Tackle's bad. Armin Membo. I'm a big fan of Armin Membo. He's gonna play guard though. He's not playing tackle. He's not playing tackle in the NFL. Is Josh Simmons type that all the way up here? I mean, I like Josh Simmons, but I don't think he's top 7 hype. I might just bite the bullet and go Tyler Warren. Because I'm trying to think of what a Tanner Eggstrand offense would love. They would love a Sam Laporta. I'm going to go Tyler Warren. I think that makes the most sense. I know I've been saying Tyler Warren to the Jets for the entire draft process. I'll try to be different this time. But I think the way this offense is being built, they only have Jeremy Ruckert at tight ends, who I actually believe could be a productive member of their offense. So we'll grab Tyler Warren. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I feel bad. Why was that? Was that 90? Why was that 90? There we go. That's a good. Sorry about that. I don't know why I was at 90. I don't. Why was my PFF at 90? What the heck? Okay. We got Tyler Warren. Gonna go at 7. I've been saying it for a while. Obviously the best tight end in this class. Amazing player. Yeah, I love Tyler Warren. I think the Jets could really like that. I think Tanner Eggstrand, they're now new OC, former passing game specialist for the Lions. I think he'd be a great addition to that offense. Number 8, the Carolina Panthers. I've been saying Mike Green. I think I'm going to keep going Mike Green. I think he is the best guy at number 8 for what they want to do. They need pass rushers desperately. And I think Mike Green's a perfect fit for what the Carolina Panthers want to do. 3-4 outside linebacker. I love it. Then the New Orleans Saints. Again, another team I think could go quarterback. I think Shedeur Sanders is definitely a possibility here. But I think Kellen Moore is going to let it ride with Derek Carr for another year. I think they'd rather take a quarterback next year or the year after. I'm being serious. I think a Shedeur fall is very possible. I think it's very possible Shedeur falls into the late teens to another team. So at number 9, the New Orleans Saints. I've been saying Emeka Egbuka for a while now. What would they do? Would they grab Mason Graham? They might grab Mason Graham. Who'd they grab a D tackle this year? Devon Gatshaw. Yeah. Brian Brzee. Yeah. I don't know if they double dip. Ooh, corner. Grabbing Will Johnson at number 9. This should immediately be your Paul Debo replacement. I'm going to go Will Johnson. Get a true lockdown corner number 1. Yeah, I like that for the Saints. Again, truly, when healthy, is one of the best corners in this class. I'm a big fan of Will Johnson. If he was healthy the entire year, he'd be over Jahdae Barron. But Will Johnson coming in at number 9, that's a great steal for the Saints. At number 10, the Chicago Bears. I mean, you can't go wrong. You either grab Mason Graham or you grab Ashton Janty. Like, you can't go wrong. In fact, can I do... I don't want to do Ourlads because it keeps freezing for some reason. Is there another website that's going to work better? There we go. This is going to work better. For some reason, my Ourlads keeps freezing. Grady Jarrett, you just paid so much money to Grady Jarrett. Andrew Billings, we also have... Where is he? Gervon Dexter. Yep. Okay. So D tackle isn't really in the in the books. Linebacker is interesting. Noah Sewell is not awful, but linebacker's interesting. Corner. Yeah, I don't think you can go safety. I think it's gotta be an offensive pick, man. Like Ashton Janty is so interesting to me. And I think the Bears would do it. I think Ben Johnson Bears would grab Ashton Janty. I'm just gonna do it. I know it's obviously the pick everyone's gonna expect, but I think this is exactly what they would do. Like if Ashton Janty is on the board, the best running back of the last like 5 years coming out of the draft, him and Bijan Robinson are probably the best running backs coming out of the draft the last 5 years. Maybe even because he had Saquon in 2018. So the last 7 years, him and Bijan Robinson have been the best running backs coming out. Yeah, I love Ashton Janty. I wish he was a Cleveland Brown. I wish it was possible. I just think the Browns are kind of off, stepped off of Ashton Janty. Browns, Ashton Janty. I don't think he's been on a top 30 visit. Let me just see. Janty visit. Let's see. Oh, that hurts. Not the Cleveland Browns. That sucks. Yeah, we're not going to visit with Ashton Janty. Yeah, it sucks. I wish the Browns would visit with Ashton Janty. I think he'd be a perfect Nick Chubb replacement. But the Bears, Caleb Johnson, Ashton Janty, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, that offensive line they've rebuilt this offseason. I think that'd be a perfect fit for Ashton Janty with the Chicago Bears. San Francisco 49ers. I think they're going to grab Mason Graham. I think they would absolutely take that. The 49ers, they love to build through their trenches. I think Mason Graham would be the perfect guy. Obviously, the offensive line is more of a need. But the fact that Mason Graham fell all the way to 11, you can't let him go to any other NFC competitors. You have the Cowboys right after you. You have the Cardinals, Bengals, obviously AFC, but Seahawks, Falcons coming up after him. You just got to grab Mason Graham. Grab a dude who should have gone earlier in the draft, but just did it because of scheme fit or because they already have D tackle figured out. That's the only reason he fell. At number 12, the Dallas Cowboys. They're a little upset, obviously. They would have loved Ashton Janty. They would have loved Ted McMillan. They would have loved Will Johnson. Let's go. They didn't cut any safeties though. That's the thing. Like the Cowboys really didn't do anything like cut or sign people. I know Matthew Golden's been a lot of the recent hype for them. I just don't think they go wide receiver. I really don't think they go wide receiver, man. I really don't see it. I don't see it. Armin Membo, maybe play him at guard. Move Smith back out the tackle. Kelvin Banks. That's interesting. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. So I might go Kelvin Banks here. Finish that offensive line off. You just had Zach Martin retire, so you lost one of your guards. Replace him immediately with Kelvin Banks. That's a Dallas Cowboys pick. Banks is a Dallas Cowboys pick. Tackle, guard, doesn't matter. You can play either. Kind of like Tyler Smith, sorry. Not Trey Smith, Tyler Smith. I think that'd be a perfect pick for them. Move him in the guard, replace Zach Martin immediately. If he falls to 12, I think they would love that. I like Kelvin Banks more than Armin Membo. As much as I think he's very like Armin Membo is an athletic freak. I want to make sure it's athletic freak. But Kelvin Banks, I think he's a more polished NFL player. And the Dallas Cowboys, as much as they love taking project picks, I think they know that they have to win this year. So I think they're gonna go with the more polished prospect than Kelvin Banks. The Cowboys, the Dolphins, I think they would grab Armin Membo. I absolutely think Armin Membo, Josh Simmons as well. In fact, I might actually go Josh Simmons. Yeah, I'm gonna go Josh Simmons. I think they need to replace Teron Armstead. He just retired this week. Josh Simmons, high level player. Before he tore his ACL, was dominating. The film he put on was amazing. He was going to be a top 10 pick. Falls to 13 to the Dolphins. I know they're happy. They replaced Teron Armstead immediately with their left tackle of the future. They would love that. I think everyone would agree that that's a great pick for the Dolphins. Then at number 14, the Indianapolis Colts. What do the Colts do? The Colts are interesting. The Colts are interesting. They're interesting. They don't really have a lot of holes. That's the thing. They're not. It's not like with the Colts. It's not that they're bad. They just have played bad. Like they have a good roster. They have a very good roster. It's just that they've played bad, and that's been the issue. They did lose some offensive linemen. So I might go. Actually go Colts. How do I do this? Can I do Indianapolis Colts? Aha! I typed Indianapolis correct. So Tanner Bortolini, I believe in. Oh, they lost their Braden Smith. That's weird. Yeah, but they lost Will Fries, whatever. I'm gonna go Armin Membo. Move Membo into right guard. So you have a little bit of a run at offensive line, right? 3 offensive linemen in the row. I've been saying I think offensive line is gonna have multiple runs in the first round. I mean, that's just a couple of them. I still think Gray Zabel, Josh Connerly, Tyler Booker, Donovan Jackson, I think they could all somehow sneak into the first round. I think there'll be multiple runs at multiple positions. I think corner could have a run. I think wide receiver could have a run. Edge and D-tackle will absolutely have a run in the NFL draft. So that's the first run of 3 tackles in a row. It does stop here with the Atlanta Falcons, though. They have other needs they need to worry about. Edge, absolutely. I think they need to get more pressure on the edge. And James Pierce. James Pierce is interesting. But would they go more raw prospect like Shamar Stewart? Or just grab Michael Williams, keep him in. This is the thing. Like this is already they're already a really good run defending team. They didn't get any pressure on the quarterback. So maybe they just go, who got the most pressure? Obviously, Donovan Azaraku has been flying up draft boards. And I think he's a great pick. I think he's a great pick in the 20s. I don't think he's a great pick at 15. I think there are other prospects that are a little bit better. James Pierce, I'm still big on James Pierce. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Fast hands. I'm going James Pierce. I think that's a Falcons pick, right? Grab a dude who just didn't really hit his highs this past year. Has some questionable off the field issues, but I mean the Falcons, they haven't really had any big issues the last couple since what 20. I'm trying to think the last time they had like an off the field issue, but the Falcons have a pretty good run, a well run organization. Raheem Morris, I think he would love James Pierce. He'd love that energy, and it's a guy who can get to the quarterback. I think that's a great fit for them. He is 21 as well, so you can easily have him for 10 years and feel comfortable still signing them after 10 years. Then the Arizona Cardinals at number 16. They're interesting. They're very interesting. I'm willing to go offensive line again. The issue is no one at 16 I would take. Like I love Gray Zabel. I love Josh Connerly, Tyler Booker, Donovan Jackson, and Ronte Ursaray. There's no one at 16 that I would take. Defensive line, maybe you just go Kenneth Grant. You could just do that. You could just go Kenneth Grant. I like to see their depth chart before I make picks though. Arizona Cardinals. I want to see their defensive tackle room because they've obviously upgraded it, right? They've obviously upgraded it. Calais Campbell and Darius Robinson. So they could go, theoretically, Kenneth Grant and have him sit behind Calais Campbell for a season, which I don't hate. I don't hate that. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Because you have Darius Robinson, he's his start for you next year. Oh, here it is, nose tackle. Dalvin Tomlinson. There you go. I was like, I thought they signed Dalvin Tomlinson. Yeah, nose tackle. So they run a 3-4, obviously. Calais Campbell, yeah, I'm gonna go Kenneth Grant. He can be a nose tackle in the future, or he can just be that D tackle replacement for like Calais Campbell. But he definitely gives more of the vibe off of a nose tackle in a 3-4 system. 4-3 interior defensive lineman, 3-4 defensive end. I think that's more of his fit. So Calais Campbell, that's his replacement eventually. Then number 17, the Cincinnati Bengals. They just need to grab anyone. I'm going Malachi Starks. They've been trying to replace. What is his name? They've been trying to replace their safety for a few years now. It's not Justin Reed. Jesse Bates. They've been trying to replace Jesse Bates for a few years now. Hasn't really worked out. None of the guys have drafted have really hit. Malachi Starks is a blue chip prospect. I really like Malachi Starks. Get him at 17 is a great steal. They find a replacement for Jesse Bates, 3 years later after he's been gone. It was a big reason they made the Super Bowl. So Malachi Starks comes at number 17, caps off their safety room. Number 18, the Seattle Seahawks. They're interesting. The Seattle Seahawks are interesting. They don't really have any wide receivers on the roster that I believe in. Luther Burden is interesting. He's interesting, but I don't know. Emeka Buka is just another JSN. You don't want to do that. I'm just looking. No. Okay. That had to be a round 2, round 3 thing to try and solve. I think they would love a good defensive lineman. I'm going to go Michael Williams. I'm going to go Michael Williams to the Seattle Seahawks. See, like, when it comes to, like, sacks, I feel like their defensive line is pretty solid against sacks. Why not show up your run defense? I know they were a really good run defending team last year. But Michael Williams, he can come in day one and be one of your best run stoppers. Really elevate the defensive line that was kind of bad last year. I thought they were a good run defending team. I thought they got to the quarterback somewhat effectively. I know it wasn't the best defensive line getting to the quarterback in the world, but I'm actually kind of okay grabbing Michael Williams at 18. And the Seahawks with Mike McDonald are a great team to get the most out of him as they can. Then number 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ooh, they're interesting. The Buccaneers are interesting. So they re-signed. I think it's got to be Edge. I think this is where Donovan goes. I think that's the highest he can go, is number 19. 6'2", 250. Gets after the quarterback. 3-4 outside linebacker. That's exactly the system they run as a 3-4. As you can see, every season has had over 25 hurries, but this year it finally turned into sacks. Great run stopper as well. I think he's a perfect fit for what they want to do. Again, 3-4 outside linebacker. This team needs pass rushers badly. And I think Donovan could come in with Yaya Diaby. You bring back Shaq Barrett. You bring in as well another young pass rusher. I can't remember what his name is, but it was another young pass rusher you bring in. Donovan, I think, would be immediately one of their best pass rushers. Then number 20, the Denver Broncos. I think they got a running back. I think this has to happen. Psych. I just realized who's next. The Pittsburgh Steelers are next. Oh, we're gonna make a pause real quick. I am going to be doing a trade. I think it's very possible for the Browns to trade up back into the first round. I think it's going to happen. Listen. So we're going to go NFL draft pick value chart. Listen. All the smoke is that the Browns want Shedeur Sanders. We're going to go to Denver. Oh, Ben. There we go. So they're at 850. 580, so they need 300. So a second, obviously, yep, giving up 33. What if we go 33, 104, and 216? Where's 104 at? 104. It's 86. Okay, so that should work, and we might have to give up, like, a future third. So, again, obviously, I said earlier this week that the Browns, I think they want Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins said, "I'm not going to any team that's going to trade for it's going to draft a young quarterback. If there is going to be a trade of the Browns traded back into the first round to grab Shedeur Sanders, this is what it would be. It'd be right before the Steelers because they feel comfortable, right? The Browns don't make any trades with anyone right here. They feel very comfortable. Then the Denver Broncos come in, the Browns trade up, they get him right before the Steelers. I'm not going to put the trade in, but I fully expect this could be on the board." That if the Browns feel they want to grab Shedeur, they can grab Travis Hunter at 2, let it happen, wait until the teens, early 20s before the Steelers pick, and they can trade up and grab Shedeur Sanders. They have number 33, a pseudo first-round pick. They give a 4th, a 7th, and a future 3rd to move up 13 spots and get that 5th-year option. I'm not going to do it, though, because I want to be realistic, and I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's on the table. Broncos grab a Marion Hampton. I think they got to solve their running back. They got to solve their running back issue. Their run game was tremendously awful last year. So they grab a Marion Hampton. He'll be their running back number 1 day 1, and they'll be very happy with that. So obviously the Steelers, they're gonna grab Shedeur Sanders. It's gonna keep going. Again, I've been saying I think Russell Wilson, early age Russell Wilson, is my Shedeur Sanders comp. Very accurate, mobile, can make a lot of throws on the football field. Very confident as well, a very confident passer. But a 2012 to 2016 Russell Wilson is my confident Shedeur Sanders. I'm not saying 2018, 2019, 2020 Russ. That's the peak of what he could be. But I think 2014, 2013 Russ is my Sanders comp. Yeah, I just don't see that slipping past the Steelers. The Steelers grab their quarterback of the future, and Shedeur Sanders lands in a good spot with a good head coach and a good culture and a good fan base that I think would like him, but I think there's a chance that his fan base could turn against him. They always turn against quarterbacks. I think there's a chance that Shedeur's style does not rub off well in Pittsburgh. Then number 22, the Los Angeles Chargers. You know, I'm gonna go wide receiver. I think wide receiver is gonna be the biggest issue for them. I'm gonna go. They grab Vlad McConkey though. Maybe I could go Luther Burden, who I've been saying is a Cortland Sutton guy. I'm gonna go Luther Burden. Grab him at 22. I've been up and down on Luther Burden this whole draft process. You guys know that. I'm just going off what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing from the NFL draft world. I'm lower on Luther Burden than a lot of people. Kind of like how I'm lower on Jalen Walker, another guy you haven't seen in this draft yet. I'm not high on on Jalen Walker. I'm not high on Luther Burden, but Luther Burden is a guy that I've been consistently seeing towards the end of the NFL first round. Jalen Walker's either a top 10 pick or out of the first round. But Luther Burden's been consistently a 20s guy. So I'm a cave, say I'm wrong. I'm sure I'm wrong. And I'm going to be proven wrong when Luther Burden gets drafted at number 22. Then at number 23, the Green Bay Packers. I think they're going to go corner. I think they have to go corner with how Jair Alexander, everything's going on. I think Siobhan Revel, again, one of my guys I've been saying is going to be a first-round pick. Him and Trey Amos, I think, will end up being first-round picks. Siobhan Revel tore his Achilles or his ACL, but he was on his way to having a really great season. Has been a really good player for the last couple of years as well. Very athletic, uber athletic guy. I think the Green Bay Packers could mold him and shape him into their cornerback number one of the future. And I think that's just a great spot for where he can land. The Vikings, I'm gonna be doing a trade back. I think the Vikings are gonna trade out of the first round. They have no picks. They have 4 picks in the NFL draft. I just don't see them staying at 24. I think the Browns do trade up at this point. I don't think the Browns are gonna stay at 33. I think they are going to move up and down the board. And I think 33 to 24 makes too much sense for Jahad Campbell. It's going to be for Jahad Campbell. 740, 580. You only need to make up 160 so you can give up that 4th rounder and feel comfortable. So it's going to be boom, 104 and a future 4th. What is it going to be like? Okay, that's weird. So this is going to be my trade. It's going to be 33, 104 and a future 4th. In this trade, the Browns, they move up 9 spots into the first round to grab their linebacker. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, we still don't know if he's going to be healthy, but when JOK was healthy, his defense played amazing. The minute he got hurt, the defense fell off a cliff. And the Vikings, they pick up a top 104 pick. So not any like 5th, 6th, 7th rounders. It will be nice. We'll throw 254 just to sweeten the pot a little bit. They can have a 7th round pick. But now they have a 1st, a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th. And a 7th. That's a lot better than nothing, right? So we're going to force this trade through. The Browns trade up, and they grab Jahad Campbell. Again, I really worry about JOK's health long term. Everything I've been hearing is that JOK should be back by training camp, but they also don't know. So I'm very worried. So Jahad Campbell, if JOK can't come back healthy, Jahad Campbell is going to be that star. Like, he's going to be the uber athletic guy, sideline to sideline strength, sideline to sideline speed. Great athletic guy, gets lots of TFLs, constantly in the way of running backs, and a good coverage linebacker. And JOK can come back healthy. Have Jahad Campbell and JOK. That is, Jahad and JOK would be the best linebacker duo in the NFL. Just straight up, you have JOK extended long term. You can bring Jahad Campbell, put them on the field at the same time, have Jordan Hicks be that replacement guy to get guys some rest. Boom. I just fixed the linebacker core. You're welcome. And all you have to do is trade a 4th, and a 7th to do that. Because, the Minnesota Vikings, they need more draft capital to fix this team. The Browns, they have expendable income when it comes to the NFL draft. They have a lot of draft picks. I don't think they're going to use all of them. I just don't see it. So they're able to offload 3 picks for 1. I think it's worth it. Then the Houston Texans at number 25. I'm going to go offensive line. It's got to be offensive line. Gray Zabel, I'm fine with that. Gray Zabel comes in and plays left tackle for them. Obviously, they obviously did sign someone. I believe it was Cam Robinson to a 1-year deal. Houston Texans. But this allows Gray Zabel not to start day 1, is what I'm trying to get at. So, yeah, Cam Robinson is going to be the starting left tackle. Trent Brown, Ed Ingram, Jarrett Patterson, Juice Scruggs. They have an okay offensive line, but Cam Robinson's a 1-year deal. Trent Brown's a 1-year deal. This gives them a guy that can develop for a year, does not need to see the playing field at all year 1, and next year can take over at left tackle for them. The LA Rams at number 26. I think they would actually love to grab Shedeur Sanders. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Shedeur Sanders at number 26. If he does slip to 26, it's going to happen. But it doesn't happen. So, Jalen Milroe, as much as I love him, I don't think it's going to happen at number 26 either. So what could they do? I think defensive line could no, we can go offense. We're going to go offense. They've been drafting a lot of defensive linemen in the last few years. We're going to go offense. They honestly cut Cooper Kupp. They're going to let Puka Nacua be the guy in the offense. But it's Emeka Egbuka there, man. I mean, Colson Loveland's here. Yeah, we'll go Colson Loveland. We're going to go Colson Loveland. Obviously, I didn't grab him with the Chargers pick. I thought Luther Burden was a better style for what they want to do. Colson Loveland comes into the LA Rams. He is able to start probably day one. Tyler Higbee's getting towards the end of his career. And we know that the Rams like to move off guys before their value drops too much. They move off guys at the right moment. So I think Tyler Higbee could easily be off this team either this year or next year. He might be a pre-camp, he might be a pre-training camp cut or trade. And I think Colson Loveland can come in and start for them day one. And I think they would absolutely love him on the offense. The Ravens at number 27. They've lost a few guys. I think it's gotta be defense though. I think it's gotta be secondary. It's been an issue for them for multiple seasons. Xavier Watts is right there. Benjamin Morris, I think, can get later on because of his injury. Trey Amos, I do believe, should be a first round pick. I'm gonna go Trey Amos. That's their new outside number one corner. Again, great press man corner, but I think he can also play a zone as well in the NFL. Terrion Arnold, that's fine. That's a fine comp. I don't really know much about Trey Amos besides that he is dominant. The Ole Miss defense and the South Carolina defense, you guys know I love anyone from those defenses, and Trey Amos is one of the best of those guys. Then number 28, the Lions. You know, as much as I don't like Jalen Walker, I think the Lions are actually a pretty solid pick for them. Wide receivers obviously on the board. You guys see it. You guys know I love Emeka Egbuka. He's slipping a little bit. He's slipping. I know he's slipping. It's just so hard to find a good spot for him when it comes to where they should draft him and the scheme that he would actually be playing in. Amon-Ra St. Brown plays a lot of what Emeka Egbuka does, so it's just not a good fit for them. I think I'm going to go defensive tackle. No, because they have Levi Onwuzurike. They re-signed Levi, right? Because they re-signed Levi Onwuzurike. I'm going to make sure. But I could have sworn I saw Detroit. I could have sworn I saw that headline that he re-signs. D-tackle. Yeah, he re-signed Levi Onwuzurike. Okay, he re-signed. You have Lee McNeil long-term. You have DJ Rito long-term. They're not going D-tackle. Edge, maybe. Edge could be up there. DJ Reed, obviously. Yeah, they have a really good defense. They have a good team, man. They can do anything. They can literally just draft anyone and let them develop. Speaking of drafting anyone and letting them develop, Shamar Stewart's right there. I'm just saying. Maybe you start planning for the future, right? Maybe you do grab some offensive linemen and start developing for the future. Listen, I am a self-proclaimed Jaden Higgins is my wide receiver 2 in this NFL draft. I've been saying that. I think Jaden Higgins is number 2, and I think that Emeka Egbuka is number 1. Jaden Higgins fits what this team wants to do. He does. Matthew Golden is fine. I'm not a big fan of Matthew Golden. I think this is a true number 1 outside receiver. Every route in the route tree. Great athlete. I'm going Jaden Higgins. I'm standing on 10 toes. I still think that it's Emeka Egbuka 1, Jaden Higgins 2, Ted McMillan 3. I've been saying that. I will stand on it. Jaden Higgins number 28. I'm fine being an outcast. I'm fine with that. But when I'm proven right that Jaden Higgins is a number 1 guy from this draft class in a few years, I'm standing on it. Then Washington. Washington's interesting. I'm going to go Emeka Egbuka. I do that because you obviously have Terry McLaurin. You have Deebo Samuel you traded for. Emeka Egbuka can be the long-term option at the slot, right? He can run. He does a lot more than a slot receiver. I want to make sure it's known. He's more than a slot receiver, but that's where he's primarily going to be playing. Deebo Samuel can play slot outside. So can Emeka Egbuka. You have, I think it's a good fit. Emeka Egbuka, Mr. Ohio State. I think it's a great fit for him in Washington. If you can get him at number 29, you run to the draft board and you turn that in. Then number 30, I am going to go Shamar Stewart to the Bills. I think it's a very Bills pick. I think it's a very Sean McDermott pick and development. They love the draft guys that need development. Both Greg Rousseau and I'm just blanking on his name. I was just thinking of his name. And I'm very upset that now I can't remember his name. Before I said Greg Rousseau, I literally in my head said his name, and I cannot remember his name as I need to say it from my mouth. Edge. It was AJ Epinesa. AJ Epinesa, Greg Rousseau, you drafted them, you developed them. I think Shamar Stewart fits that mold. Yes, you have Joey Bosa for a 1-year deal, but it's a 1-year deal. Shamar Stewart can be the long-term investment as a power rusher. Then at 31, the Kansas City Chiefs, they can do anything, man. They can just do anything. They can just do anything. But I think they want to win right now. I think they want to win right now still. You always want to win when you're Kansas City and you're playing with house money, basically. Kansas City. Then that's about Kansas City, right? Oh my god, I didn't spell Kansas right. Oh my god, I didn't spell Kansas right. Oh my god, I am so embarrassed. Maybe it's Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe it's the full name. There it is. Who do they have at tackle? Kingsley Suamataia, Juwan Taylor. Ooh, we're going offensive line. We're going offensive line. Let's just grab Josh Connerly. Yeah. After saying this offensive line of Kingsley Suamataia, Mike Caliendo, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Juwan Taylor. Yeah. Josh Connerly's a long-term investment at left tackle. Then the Philadelphia Eagles obviously can do whatever the heck they want. I mean, winning the Super Bowl really lets you do anything, so good for them. But who could be replaced quickly? Maybe they do go offensive line. See, I think Donovan Jackson makes more sense. I think they would have loved Josh Connerly for the future. I think they would have loved that. Maybe a proper edge. Maybe a proper edge makes sense. Let's see. Philadelphia Eagles. Because obviously they have a lot of like 3-4 outside linebackers. But I'm talking about proper like D ends. Because Azeez Ojulari, Jalix Hunt, Josh Uche, Nolan Smith, Bryce Huff. That's your 5-man outside linebacker room. And Princely Umamelan's right here. I'm going Princely Umamelan. You guys know I love Princely. He's one of my favorite guys in this draft. I'm going Princely Umamelan. Could be the #1 outside linebacker of the future if he can develop. I'm doing it. He is their replacement for Josh Sweat long term. So that's my NFL draft. That's my mock draft 3 weeks before the NFL season. We'll be doing another one in probably about a week and a half. But so hopefully coming up here soon, give me videos about my draft gems and my hidden gems. Guys I think should go in the first round. Guys I think are going to fall out of the first round. So if you guys enjoy, let's go over the draft real quick. Travis Hunter goes at number 2. Johnny Barron at 5. Mike Green at 8. Ashton Jeanty falls to the Bears. Mason Graham falls all the way to 11 with San Francisco. A tackle run from 12 to 14 with Kelvin Banks to the Dallas Cowboys, Josh Simmons to the Dolphins, and Armin Membo to the Colts. James Pierce goes to the Falcons. Malachi Starks falls to the Bengals. Donovan Azaraku goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 19. Shedeur Sanders does fall to 21. The Pittsburgh Steelers grab him. Great organization for him. Javon Revel goes to the Green Bay Packers. Browns trade up to number 24 with the Minnesota Vikings. They grab Jahad Campbell. Houston grabs their future left tackle of the future with Gray Zabel. Colson Loveland falls to the Rams at 26. Jaden Higgins and Emeka Buka are at number 28 and then number 29. Josh Connerly and Princely Umamelan finishes out the NFL draft. Yeah, I think it's very possible. With all the rumors that have happened, with all the signings and all the smoke and mirrors that have been going on, I think this draft is very possible. So if you guys do enjoy, please do like, comment, subscribe. Yet again, I'll be going live for the NFL draft the Thursday and Friday of the NFL draft. I always forget the draft times. Round 1 on Thursday, April 24th, I'll be going live at 7 p.m. And on April 25th, I'll be going live at 6 p.m. So round 1 is on the 24th at 7. And round 2 and 3 is on April 25th at 6. I'll be going live for those. My 5th annual NFL Draft-a-thon. I'm very excited. So if you guys enjoy, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.